Hi, everyone. It's Christine Gritmon. Welcome to this week's episode of Social. My guest this week is Jason Bay, who is a, well, why don't you tell us, Jason?
So I work with small business owners to help them create sustainable revenue growth. So I work with a lot of, construction contractors down to your mom and pop, storefronts looking to drive some leads, marketing agencies, people that are sort of one-man shows like design shops, and sort of everywhere in between. And the one really big challenge that I find that small business owners have is creating a predictable system for prospecting, right? And getting new customers in the door, because they're having to wear a lot of multiple hats, just like you and I do.
Absolutely.
Right? You're doing all of your accounting, you're doing all of your own prospecting, you got to hire employees, and then somehow you got to deliver the product or service. Mm-hmm. And then have good customer service too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of.
And it can be hard for a lot of people. Like getting the business almost seems like a whole second business. Like that can be your whole, like that hustle. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to talk to you, since you are an expert on lead generation for small business and getting those prospects. I wanted to talk to you about how social media can be used as a tool to help small businesses do that.
Definitely. So I think that like a good place to start would be why. Like a lot of people are like, I know I need to do social media, but I don't really understand its impact. So I would really start with like, what are you trying to accomplish, and make sure that social media is the best medium for that to accomplish.
And what are some good goals that social media can help with?
So two primary things. You can use it as a branding tool. So just to share positive things about your company, positive things that are going on in the industry. You can use it to educate customers. And it's a way to sort of passively stay in touch with people.
Yeah.
And depending on if you're
relationships, it's very useful for that.
Exactly. And depending on if you're sort of a B2C or B2B company, I feel like email is still very alive and kicking for B2B, but it's starting to die a little bit for the B2C because the open rates are just extremely low in the consumer market. So social media, oftentimes you might actually have higher engagement on your social media than sending an email, getting it to someone's inbox. Yeah,
because people are on social media already. So it's meeting them where they are.
Exactly. So I would say the first thing is figure out why you want to use it. And if for anyone that's not sold on why they should use social media, because I used to be one of those people, the reason why it works really well is that you're engaging with someone in a place that's familiar to them and in a place that's public. So people can look at your profile and see, like, does this person have followers? Does what they say, does it look credible? Versus in email, it's just, if you get a cold email from someone, and I help businesses a lot with cold email. So cold email does work, but it's just that. It's a cold connection. You don't know anything about the person reaching out to you. Exactly. So after you figure out why you want to use it, I would figure out, well, who is your ideal prospect profile? Like, you should have that nailed down. Like, who is your absolute perfect customer? And you need to think about where next, like what social media platforms are they on? For example, most of my audience, I help business owners. So most of my audience is not necessarily on Instagram and Snapchat. So I don't use Instagram and Snapchat.
Or at least they're not looking at that for business. Even if they are on Instagram and Snapchat, they're there to see, their grandkids or their kids or,
Yeah. And even Facebook, you'll have to mess around with Facebook and see if it's a platform for you. So if you're B2C though, and you're working with just consumers, you want to be on Instagram, right? You want to potentially be on Snapchat if it's a younger audience. So my suggestion is, if you're just getting started, and even if you've already started this, is like really focus on one or two platforms. It's much better to do a really, really good job on one platform than to just say, I'm going to be on all the platforms and do a very mediocre job.
Yeah, people worry that they need to be everywhere, and that's part of why social media can seem like such an overwhelming task to take on as part of your brand. It's like, first of all, why do I want to waste my time doing this? Second of all, there's all these platforms. What do I do? And you're right, definitely talking about who is where.
Yep.
They're
so
in
I would say
places.
if you're a B2B business, I would focus primarily on LinkedIn. And if you're a B2C business, I would focus on Facebook and potentially Instagram if you're just getting started with this.
And the communication on these platforms is so different. So what are some good ways that you've seen and that you've helped businesses with, or that you yourself use LinkedIn? Like, how?
Yeah, great question. So I've gone through just a lot of personal trial and error with this to figure out what works. And for those of you in the sort of B2B land, LinkedIn is like the hot thing right now. So there's a lot that they're doing to, when I first started LinkedIn, I think was in 2008 or 2009. And
I got on it a really long time ago, and it was a very static place to kind of park your resume. Now every week I'm reading about new developments that LinkedIn is bringing. This year they've been like constant.
So they really favor, because they're trying to drive engagement within their platform, they really favor people that are posting organically and not linking out to third-party sites. And then they're really pushing video right now, which I haven't experimented much with.
I feel like they've made it hard to post video though, which is interesting. Because I've read the things saying that they're trying to help that, but they don't have a very good interface for how to make that happen right now. But I actually, with these videos, it lives on Facebook, obviously, and I make a blog post of it, which is the embedded Facebook video, and I post it on Twitter, just to the Facebook. But for LinkedIn, I've actually started, I still embed the Facebook video, but I do it in a LinkedIn blog post separately from my blog's blog post, because I feel like LinkedIn will show it to more people. But I would love to be able to just upload the video into LinkedIn. I feel like it would definitely show to more people. But I feel like maybe you can't upload long videos, and they make it kind of tricky. And also uploading a video to a company page versus a profile. Have you played with anything like that on your company page? I know you've got one of those too.
I actually don't use my company page at all.
Yeah, it's just there to lend credibility. I'm the same way.
Exactly. So I have 3 things that you can do on LinkedIn, just sort of three or four steps here that you can take to beef up your LinkedIn profile. And the way that I use LinkedIn for B2B is to create relationships, and you can use it for B2C to create strategic partnerships too. So it's not just a B2B thing. If you're connecting with other business professionals, it's a really great platform to use. So the first step, and the biggest thing that I see people lacking in, is like, you have to have an attractive profile. Like, you have to give people a reason to want to connect with you. Yeah. Because when you send a connection request, the person doesn't have to accept it. So, and this might sound really basic, but have a freaking profile pic. Like, a lot of people don't even have a profile picture.
People don't. It's mind blowing. I go to a networking event, and one of the first things I do when I get back, anyone whose business card I got or who I spoke with, and I'm actually behind on this for an event I went to the other day, but I look up LinkedIn. I see if they have a professional Facebook. I don't send them like a friend request, but professional Facebook, Twitter, but sometimes I'll go on LinkedIn and I'm not sure if it's them because they don't have a picture.
It's very strange. Why give someone a reason not to connect with you?
Fill out as much as possible. This is a marketing opportunity that's free. Fill out as much as possible, I would think.
Yep. And if you're posting content and other people are liking, commenting, and sharing it, their audience will see it too. So people that you're not a direct one-to-one connection with will see your stuff. And they'll follow you if they like what you're posting. But if they click on your profile and there's nothing on there, no one's going to connect with you. So the other thing along with the profile picture is make sure that you have the summary filled out too. And it doesn't have to be a really long summary, but try to tell a story if you can. Tell a little bit about yourself, reveal something personal. And the most important thing is, if someone wants to engage with you, like, tell them how they should do that. If that's messaging you on LinkedIn, if that's sending you an email, if that's going to your website, if that's calling you, whatever it is, tell them exactly how they can engage with you if they want to engage with you. One other thing that I see, really common mistake in people that actually use LinkedIn a lot too, is that make sure that your company page is properly set up. So a lot of people, they'll put their current company in there and they won't actually create a company page and link it. So when I click on the company, it just takes me to a search list and I can't actually go to their website. And
you have the little blank picture of buildings in grayscale.
Yeah. If I have to click on your company on your LinkedIn and then manually look on Google for your company and then click on the web, that's just too many steps. I'm not going to do that. So make sure your company page is set up, that it's linked to from your personal page, and then make sure that your website URL is in there so you make it really easy for people to check out your stuff.
Yeah, it's all about giving people context.
Number two is
to
be proactive about connecting. So the reason why I really like LinkedIn is that the way the followers work, it's not like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, where like when you follow someone, they have to also follow you back. So in LinkedIn, if you connect with someone, as soon as they connect with you, they become a follower. So anyone that you reach out to that connects, you're building your follower base. So you can actually be incredibly proactive with that. And have a hack that works really, really well for prospecting. The number one thing in marketing is to think about, where is my audience already gathered? Like, who has already done a tremendous amount of work to gather potential customers for me already? So one of the easiest places to find that is in a Facebook or LinkedIn group. So for example, if you're looking to connect with marketers, you might look for Facebook marketing groups that have gathered a ton of marketers. You and I got connected through the Banff group, I believe, right?
Yes, we did.
15,000 people. And then what I would do is you'll go on those Facebook groups and actually look and see who is connected in there, and look and see who is engaging in the platform, and then add them on LinkedIn. And when you add them on LinkedIn, make sure that you send a personalized outreach. Don't just send, don't leave it blank, first off. So send something personal in there. It doesn't have to be crazy, but mention their first name and then mention the group affiliation. Again, people want what's familiar, and they want what's like familiar and what's public. So mention the group affiliation, mention their name, and just why you want to connect. And you'll be surprised at how much that will increase the connection rate. The other thing you can do too is look for LinkedIn groups. I know LinkedIn groups kind of died, but they're actually still out there. So if you, I believe it's linkedin.com/groups. You'll see like a master directory of all the groups. Find people in there to connect with, not that are only prospects, but also strategic partners too. So people that are working with customers that you could work with. And this is a great way to connect with those two types of people. It's a great way to connect with, if you run a show like you do, podcast guests, whatever it may be. And I cannot stress how important it is to send personalized outreach when you do this. It's so embarrassing to see people post something and I'm like, you obviously did not take the time to like even look at my summary or the headline, excuse me, with you don't even have to click on my profile to see the headline. And people send you messages that are just not relevant to what you do at all. It's really embarrassing. And it's super annoying.
Like, how did you find me and why?
You don't want to be that person contributing to that mess. So just by sending something personalized, and if you can, like memes are really hot right now too. If you can find a personalized meme to send, or a funny meme, like one that I'll send is, it's this guy, he's like shaking his head like this and he looks like he's crying. And it says, no one ever responds to my emails. So when I send someone an email, I just like jokingly send that, be like, hey, I'm starting to really feel like this guy right now. And a lot of people comment and be like, oh, that's super funny. Yeah, let's go ahead and connect. So if you can find something funny to put in there too, it's going to help a lot with your response rate. And lastly, so once you've created an attractive profile, you're proactive about connecting, you're using personalized outreach, you want to make sure to add value. So when you reach out to a prospect, don't just say, hey, you look like a potential customer. Let's chat so I can get your money. That's essentially what people are doing, and it's just not the way to approach it at all. You have to do something to add value to this person for free. So drive them back and link to, let's say, a LinkedIn post. Maybe if you're posting a lot on LinkedIn. Like, hey, I put together this post, thought it would be really valuable for your business because of this reason. Check it out. I'd love to hear what you think about it. And then when you reach back out to someone, they're not going to be like, oh, Jason's not just messaging me because he wants my money. Like, he actually wants to add value to me as well. So LinkedIn posts are a great way to do that. You can push back to your website. So I have a newsletter. So I like telling people about my newsletter and be like, hey, this is something I put out for free every Wednesday. It's got a lot of great stuff in it. Check that out. If you're writing articles, if you got a podcast, if you run free webinars, or you can just be like, hey, I'm doing 10-minute free consultations right now. I'd love to just give you some free insights around your strategy and talk to you about your marketing or whatever it is that you offer. Make sure that there's something there to add value. And don't be afraid to take the conversation outside of LinkedIn too. So there's lots of different tools you can use to get a person's email address. So if you're not getting responses from someone on LinkedIn, don't be afraid to email them as well and reference that, hey, we connected on LinkedIn. I know that LinkedIn is a very hard place to stay on top of with messaging, which is why I'm sending the email, let's connect, or here, whatever that you're going to share.
There's a woman I know who I met first in real life, and we connected on LinkedIn. She does a webinar, and she does this webinar, I think, every week. But the fact is she doesn't present it that way. Every week she will choose a handful of her LinkedIn connections to directly message and say, hey, I'm having a webinar this week. I'd really like it if you joined. Here's the value I think you'll get from it. And it's free, and you feel a little more obligated to respond because you were directly invited. It wasn't generic. And and I did that, and I did her free webinar. And at the end, I was like, at the beginning, I was thinking, oh, and then the sell for the paid version will come at the end, whatever. It was so valuable, the free one, that I immediately signed up for the paid one because, she had given such value. And to think that I wouldn't have even logged on to the webinar at all if she hadn't sent me that message. And if I hadn't felt like, you know what, she's not just spamming everyone with this. Like, she actually does see that I would get value from this. And so that can be a very, very powerful tool. Absolutely. It's all the tips that you gave sound like they're really about giving context to people as to why they should know you and without knowing you. Well, that's fantastic. And I'm so glad that you added me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we connected by this same exact strategy that I shared.
Yeah, absolutely. And I joined your mailing list.
Yeah, I want to share one quick thing too. Just
absolutely.
Like marketing, the reason why I love it is that it's really just comes down to basic psychology. So when you reach out to someone, if you reach out and they're immediately like, oh, I've been dying to hear from someone like you, I'd love to hire you. Like, you're just getting lucky. And a lot of people expect for that to be the reaction. The number one thing that you have to do is create awareness around what you do, like who you are. And you got to create awareness around whatever problem that your business fixes. The client or the prospect might not even be aware of this problem that they have, and they might not even be aware of what the solution is, and they might not be aware that you're the person to actually help them fix that. So just keep that in mind when you're reaching out. You got to educate the person. Like, you actually have to build a relationship. Don't just expect to get lucky and send out thousands of messages, and you will get lucky every once in a while, but it's extremely inefficient. And you're going to piss off a lot of people, and you're going to look like an idiot by doing that. So take the time to build a relationship.
Yeah, I heard a great quote at a networking event the other day, and I told my friend who said it, I'm like, I'm quoting you every day because I love this quote. Yeah. She said, we have to turn the 4-letter word sell into the 4-letter word help. And that really is just the best way to conduct yourself in any business, but especially if you're, doing anything marketing related. I mean, that's really got to be what it is now. People are turned off by a sale now. It's passé.
Yep. I agree. All right. 100%.
Well, thank you so much, Jason. This was fantastic. Thank you very much for being on the show, for connecting with me to begin with. And I'm sure we'll talk further.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.